6 o'clock. I'll call this June 2nd, 2015 meeting of the Andalusia City Council to order. And I'll ask Councilman Wells if he will lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, as employees and council and mayor of this city, we've all been asked to selectively serve in this great community in which we call home. As we lead and work in this city, help us to make decisions that will be in the best interest of our city and the surrounding communities. But more importantly, let those decisions be something that be pleasing to you. And having honored our American heroes on the Memorial Day, let us remember our local heroes, those that protect and serve our community. And as a group and as individuals, we ask for your continued blessings. Lord, guide us and give us wisdom. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome our guests tonight. We do have guests with us, and we're always pleased to have you join us. Remind everyone that we meet on the first and third Tuesday of each month, with the workshop starting at 5 o'clock and the business session starting here in the auditorium at 6 o'clock. First item of business is to consider the approval of our minutes for our meeting held May the 19th.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we could accept our minutes of a regular business meeting on May the 19th, 2005 as is.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Griffin to approve the minutes as presented. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
And we have a second by Mr. Mount. Is there any further discussion? All in favor then of approval of the minutes as presented, please indicate by raising your right hand. And I thank you for that. No unfinished business to take up tonight. Under new business, first item is a resolution 2015-25, abatement of properties. This again is a similar action that we take at almost every meeting of the City Council, particularly this time of the year, with respect to weeds and grasses. There are 5 properties in there, an empty lot on 8th Avenue, 506 8th Avenue, 332 and a half River Falls Street, 909 River Falls Street, and 501 Bruton Street, an empty lot. All of these, you have photographs there in your packet demonstrating that there are weeds and grasses that qualify for abatement under our ordinance. If you choose to declare it so, I would appreciate you adopting the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2015-25, allowing the building inspector to proceed with the abatement of the named properties in that resolution.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Powell to adopt the resolution. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Mr. Sconyers. Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting the resolution, please indicate by raising your right hand. And that carries, and I thank you for that. Next item is Resolution 2015-26. This is a resolution declaring certain property that we have as surplus. You have attached to this resolution a list of properties. Primarily all of these are the old radios that we have just replaced, mobile radios that we just replaced in the city of Andalusia. These are these have been replaced with the modern digital radios with new frequencies, and we no longer have any use for these radios. And we have had an offer from the Emergency Management Agency here in Covington County to purchase those radios for $1,500. And according to what we've been able to see on Gov Deals, that is a fair price. Those radios would be going again to an agency that serves the public, and for that price, we think we would be getting as good for them as we could on the gov deals, listing them that way. So also, we have a 2005 Ford Crown Victoria that needs to be declared surplus. We're not asking that this property be sold. Chief has asked that we keep this vehicle, but use it for parts and pieces for repair to other vehicles that we have. We think we can get more value out of doing that than trying to sell it for $1,500 or so. So we would recommend to you then that you go ahead and declare it surplus so that the vehicle can be pieced and parted out as a surplus vehicle.
Mayor, question.
Yes, sir.
On the resolution 2015-26, it doesn't list the vehicle. Should that be part of it?
We should amend that and add that, yes, the Crown Victoria. We need to put the VIN number in there, Chief.
It's listed on the back page.
Is it on the back?
Back page.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we got a second page? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or back page?
Yeah, I see. It's attached.
Yeah.
On the
It's not
back.
in the first motion, I mean,
Right,
the
but it's,
printed one.
it's not in the resolutions, what you're making
Right.
a point of, and we'll amend that, and put it in there. But we do have the number, it's 2005 Crown Vic, white in color. The VIN number is listed there. It's got 124,000 miles on it. With that correction, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, on resolution 2015-26, I make a motion that we accept it with the additions that we just discussed on the car.
Okay, have a motion by Mr. Wells. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Powell. Any further discussion? All in favor then of adopting the resolution as amended or as described to be amended, please indicate by raising your right hand. And any opposed, same sign, and that carries, and I thank you for that. We have a proposal, next item of business, to deal with police uniforms. I'm basically going to read what Chief Hudson wrote out in a letter to the council, but it explains why we're considering doing this, and in better, in more concise language probably that I can come off the top of my head with, so I'll read it. We are striving to be the best police department that we can be. In order to be the best, you need to look like the best. We currently issue an officer's what is called Class B uniform. All of you saw this uniform at a previous city council meeting. The uniforms are great for everyday wear. They hold up well to everyday wear and tear, but are not what the chief considers to be proper uniform for special occasions, such as dress occasions. As mentioned to you at the earlier council meeting, the chief is recommending that we purchase for everybody in the department a Class A uniform. The Class A uniform is a dress uniform that can be worn to academy graduations, funerals, special events that where we need a Class A uniform instead of a Class B uniform. This expense was not figured into the budget, but we can purchase 32 of these Class A uniforms for $3,024. That price includes the shirt, pants, and tie. There is, in my opinion, a significant improvement as far as the looks of this uniform, stepping up to the Class A to be worn only on special occasions. Again, it wouldn't be worn on every day, but on special occasions, it would really look nice for our department to be able to dress up in a Class A uniform. So I recommend it to you. The price is $3,024 from Azar's Uniforms in Montgomery, which is where we get all of our police uniforms. That money, if you approve it, would have to come from contingency.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of these uniforms for the police department, 32 to be exact, in the amount of $3,024, and this money to come from contingency.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Mount. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Griffin. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand, and that carries. And I'm pleased to do that, Chief and Captain. I think that will really be a step up for us in what we're trying to portray ourselves as a Class A police department. We need Class A uniforms to do that. So, thank you. All right, we have a board appointment to consider. This is on the T&R committee. This is the position that's been held by Ms. Elaine Manning, and she is the only person to reapply for that position. So I recommend to you that we appoint Elaine Manning to another term on the T&R committee.
Mr. Mayor, I make that motion that we accept her appointment, Elaine Manning.
Okay, we had a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Sconyers. Any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Elaine Manning to the T&R committee, please indicate by raising your right hand. And thank you for that. We are looking at trying to see if we can get a grant for some body cameras for our police department. This is something that our police chief and assistant chief have been looking at for some time. There's a grant opportunity out there to possibly get some grant funding for this. But I see that I skipped an item. I'm sorry, I'll come back and get that in a minute. I jumped an item. These would be body cameras that are, I'm sure people have seen these on TV and know about what they are, but they would more or less cover the scene of a encounter for our police officers outside of their vehicles. All of our vehicles have police cameras, but when they get outside of the vehicle or outside of the view of the camera in the vehicle, there's no record of it, of what takes place. So we are going to try to get body cameras, and there is a grant that's available through the federal government. We're going to try to qualify for that grant, but it's pretty complicated. The application is pretty complicated, and we need some help to get that done. We don't have anybody in the department or on the city payroll that can write this grant. We have in the past used Ms. Carla Powell to help us with this grant writing on complex grants, and she has agreed to write this grant for us and get it in on time, which it has to be in by the 13th of June, I believe, 16th of June, which is right around the corner. And Ms. Powell has agreed to write the grant, get it into us, get it in on time with all the necessary paperwork that goes with it for a $4,600 fee. And so I recommend to you that we contract with Ms. Carla Powell to do that and pay her $4,600 to write the grant and get it in on time. There are no guarantees that we'll get awarded the grant, but I know we won't get awarded if we don't apply for it, that's for sure.
Mr. Mayor, I move that you be allowed to sign a contract with Carla Powell for the $4,600 to write the body camera grant, and that the money be taken from contingency.
Okay, Mr. Powell makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Mr. Sconyers seconds the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. And that carries, and I thank you for that. Now let me back up and get the resolution that I skipped inadvertently. We have been working with Southeast Alabama Regional Planning Commission to help write a grant application for a CDBG grant. These CDBG grants are grants that we've been applying for and using on a regular basis in the city of Andalusia. This particular grant would be for a resurfacing project to resurface several streets in Andalusia. One would be, one of the major streets that would be partly resurfaced would be South Cotton Street at the intersection of Watley Street over to Fagan Avenue. Also, Laurie Street and Dan Street, excuse me, would be resurfaced. Then over off of South Three Knot Street, we have Little Street, Carlton Street, Auburn Avenue, Riley Street, Rankin Street, Carrollton, let's see, make sure I got that correct. Carolina Street and Riley Street and Jackson Street. I skipped Jackson. All of those streets would be resurfaced under the application that we will be filing. The gross amount of the grant would be $695,000. Our matching portion of the grant would be $245,000. Again, this is not guaranteed. This is a competitive grant where we're competing with other cities throughout Alabama. But we hope that for the matching funds that we've agreed to pay there, that will put us in good standing to compete for this grant. So I recommend that you adopt Resolution 2015-27, which authorizes us to make application for this CDBG grant.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve resolution number 2015-27, as you mentioned, is an application for a community development block grant for some much-needed resurfacing.
All right, we have the motion by Mr. Sconyers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Powell. Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting the resolution, please indicate by raising your right hand. And I thank you for that. Let me add, just as an aside, hopefully next year in 16, we will have some additional, whether we get this grant or not, there will be some resurfacing done from funds that we have assigned to resurfacing and transportation projects and work. It would not be that amount necessarily, but we will have some that will be used in neighborhoods that we can't get grants to do the resurfacing in. So one of the conditions on, or one of the limitations connected with these CDBG grants is they have to be in neighborhoods that have a certain, no more than a certain average salaries and so forth, incomes per household. So the additional paving that we will do will be probably in neighborhoods that would not qualify for such a grant as this. And those will be done in conjunction with our Public Works department head, and he will help along with our council members and others pick out the streets that we feel like will need that work. That'll be done sometime in 16. Okay, is there anything else to come before the council? All right, hearing nothing, we will stand adjourned.